Hey guys, welcome to Rad Tech Reviews. My name is Kyle. Today we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman, the next step in the DCEU that we're going through right now. Go ahead and like and subscribe. You can follow my letterbox and my Twitter. Those are in the subscription down below. And let's just get into it. This is a great movie. Very disappointed by 1984, but we'll get there when we get there. But as far as this one goes, this was a good film. This was, I wouldn't even say surprising. I mean, I think for the most part, people were hyped up about it. And I think for most people, it lived up to that hype as far as origin stories go. It's really solid. One of the few female-led heroine movies. And so it's kind of a big deal from that standpoint, obviously. Predating Captain Marvel and Black Widow and stuff, so Wonder Woman was kind of the first one that stepped out there with her own solo film like this, and I like that they kind of went the Captain America First Avenger route and took it back to the war times and stuff. You get Steve Trevor, who's a great character from the comics, and Chris Pine, one of the most charming dudes ever, so he's just fantastic. He's probably the best part of the film. Gal Gadot's, she's great. A lot of people kind of doubted her when she got cast as Wonder Woman, just because, yeah, she's gorgeous, obviously, but they didn't know that she necessarily could tap into that kind of Amazon attitude, I guess. I don't know exactly what the real problem was. But she lived up to it. We got a taste of her in Batman vs. Superman, but then going full on with the character here, she did a great job. I always love the kind of backstory we get in some of these Snyderverse films as far as the gods and stuff. You know, like in Justice League, we get that whole segment with Zeus and them fighting Darkseid and Steppenwolf back in the past. Wish we could have gotten more of that stuff. I'd like to see that film that takes place all the way back then. But in the beginning, we get kind of young Diana Prince, and actually the youngest version of her in this ends up being Allison Hightower on House of the Dragon, which is, it's crazy to think that she was that small at some point, and now here we are not that many years later. And they kind of set up the relationship between her and her mom, and then her mom's sister, which is played by Robin Wright. And so she's like the leader of the army, and she wants to train Dinah kind of in secret because mom doesn't want to have it. She wants her daughter just to be safe and not out there fighting on the front lines. But obviously we know her daughter is destined for bigger and greater things. And they kind of set up the big bad just with this whole backstory of Ares. And so the god of war himself is always like looming in the background for most of this film until we finally get the reveal of him at the end, played by David Thewlis, which ends up being a little bit of a twist because they kind of lead you to believe it's somebody else before giving you that reveal. Which, he's a great actor, obviously. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you know exactly how great he is as Dr. Lupin. Not Dr. Lupin, Professor Lupin. And then we kind of just follows that Captain America formula. I don't know if they gave him a name in the movie, but they're basically the Howling Commandos. You have the Native American guy and the other group of kind of, not necessarily outcasts, but it's like an eclectic group of people that work together as this little task force. And she wants to be fighting on the front lines. You get some good fish out of water stuff first from Chris Pine and Themyscira, and then you get some fish out of water stuff from her when she ends up going across the sea because she's never been out in their actual world before. And then you meet Etta. Is that Steve Trevor's assistant? Is that her name, Etta? I don't know the actress's name, but I thought her character was really funny. Very adorable personality, so enjoyed that. we get to the actual war stuff. Probably the most famous sequence in the entire movie would be the No Man's Land segment, where she finally takes everything off, is down in her full-on outfit, and she crosses the lines and right into enemy fire, and it's just a complete badass moment. And what I also love about that whole sequence is the combat for her is also very good. She's kind of fighting and discovering exactly what she's capable of at the same time. You know, you get the sword, you get the shield. I like that they use the lasso for more than just truth telling. She actually uses it in battle and whips people around and stuff. And so all that stuff's really great. Basically, German scientists, as far as the villains of the movie go, are developing some sort of chemical agent to use in chemical warfare. So the whole plan is just to stop that from happening. And they're kind of, you know, your one-note villains. I mean, there's even a really cheesy moment where they do something bad and they have like this little cheesy laugh together. The scientist chick and the lieutenant guy. Very campy. You know, it felt a little out of place because this is a little more serious. But it did feel very comic booky at the same time, so I don't mind it. Obviously, you have the romance between Diana and Steve Trevor, which I think works. They kind of build it up well, and then when it pays off eventually, I think, you know, the payoff is there. They earned it for the most part. Then as you work towards the end here, you get the final confrontation where you have the reveal of who Ares is, and the big fight, and she really starts to really tap into her full potential of her power, because it turns out the god killer all along was not her sword, it was her herself, because Zeus is actually her father. She takes down Ares, but at the same time, in that sequence, in that segment, you know, Steve Trevor sacrifices himself, which sucks, but it's nice to have actual stakes like that in a movie like this. A lot of times in comic book movies, everybody lives on the good side a lot of times, and usually people that do die are just kind of the side characters. You don't always have the primary one or two actually have their life put on the line and even take it at times. So I think Steve dying is very important to the weight of the plot, even though it sucks because he's a great character. Obviously, they bring him back in 1984, which how they go about that is just fucking weird. But again, we'll talk about that when we get there. I haven't seen that since it came out. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's bookended on the front and the end with present day Diana working in the museum, which is kind of where we find her in 1984. And I mean, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. And yeah, thanks, guys.